Hey replay viewers, hello everyone. KLBELVIN here. We start off by saying shout out to Keisha Green for the hard work she's doing behind the scenes. Put this chat and chew together. May 14th. Getting some folks together to come sit down and have a bite to eat and some conversation. Talk about my books, talk about life, talk about whatever. I'm looking forward to it. So shout out to Keisha Green. Shout out to Otis Bellinger for inviting me to come to Detroit June 4th. Gonna help try to fix some of these relationships, try to do what we do to try to help restore some folks' faith in the fact that relationships is still a positive word these days. I'll be in Chicago in July, and I'll be in Dover, Delaware for a book event at the end of June, so I'm trying to stay busy. But listen, point of today's scope. I want to talk about this. We really have to stop celebrating things that are negative. When the people that are in our lives, or the people that we work with, or just in general, be honest. You know, people look for validation. They look for support. Sometimes for the most foolish reasons. And they'll turn to you and be like, you understand what I'm saying? No, I do not. And that's just silly. When someone asks you, what do you think about this? Tell the truth. Now, let's stop celebrating foolishness that we know doesn't work. I don't care if it's music. I don't care if it's movies. I don't care if it's books. I don't care if it's the way someone is dressed or the way someone acts. Stop celebrating when you know it's negative. Really. Stop celebrating negativity. Stop celebrating behaviors that you know are just silly, just ridiculous. I saw a Facebook post today. Or was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday I seen it, but it was a conversation today. And the chick was wearing a shirt that was glorifying her as the side chick. And you know what a side chick is? That is the husband's or boyfriend's mistress. And she had another shirt on that said, I love married men, and all this foolishness. And I can't stop people from being stupid. I'm an educator. Lord knows I try. I can't stop people from being stupid. But it was the number of people who were celebrating this person. The number of people who were celebrating am I gay? Not at all. I don't understand where the question came from. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, man. There we go. But anyway, and I just noticed it was the comments, I think, that was interesting to me. It was the number of people who were celebrating what this person was about. It was the number of people who thought that this was cool, and you know what? Just because I'm in that type of mood, man. No, I don't speak French. And it just really made no sense to me. Like, I couldn't understand why so many people want to celebrate something that is just ridiculously negative. And it just reminded me that I am a tremendous advocate towards marriage. I'm an advocate for people getting into marriage, remaining in marriage. I'm about fixing marriages. And my wife and I even have a movement called Making Marriage Cool Again, because we want people to understand that marriage is truly a blessing. It really is. But it just seems like in society right now, all the things that are negative, people gravitate to and celebrate. Maybe because it makes money. And anytime something makes money, people are going to gravitate to it. But not all money is good money. But no matter how many times you say that, people hear it and they just kind of gloss past that. Not all money is good money. You know, just because you can make money doesn't make it okay. I think people try to justify the means by the end by saying, okay, look, it made me money. How bad could that be? Man, listen. If it's negative, it's negative. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. Now, that's actually subjective. It really is. It's subjective. Some people are going to say, hey, what's wrong with a man having as many women or a woman having as many men as she wants? That's fine. So then what I'm going to say to those folks is, then you stand on that. You support that. You back it full, because I'm not. And I have no problem with letting a person know. I was talking to a colleague today, and they made a comment, and they said, you understand what I'm saying? No, I do not. I do not agree. And when I explained to them why I didn't agree, they didn't know what to do. They were in such anticipation that I would be in agreement to what they were saying about, some things we were dealing with at work, that when I said, they were kind of like, wow. Am I Tyson's father? Tyson who? No, I don't have a child named Tyson, sorry. And it's crazy because I noticed that people will do something wrong and then turn to strangers and act as if the stranger should co-sign if the person gives some type of valid reasoning, even if the valid reason to them is negative. Don't get that either. But the idea is, it's sad because as you talk to folks, people are unhappy with so much, but they don't want to say anything. So my thing is, if you do not like the things that you see, you do not like the things that's going on, what are you doing to change it? See, I speak on the matters. I write books on the matters. I go out and try to mentor to help change some of the things that I perceive as negative. And by doing so, it is my hope that I will create or sustain or assist the things that I want to see in this world increase. But it's just ridiculous how people buy into negatives and then try to defend the negative because of the outcome. When I was looking at those pictures of this woman basically saying, she's enjoying being a side chick, when I'm reading the comments and I'm thinking to myself, so how many of these people would be okay with their significant other having a secondary person and then make others feel better, stupid for not? Yes, but see, they attempt, and I say attempt because no one can make you feel any particular way. I had that conversation with a colleague today too. No one can make you feel anything. They attempt to make you feel bad. I refuse to feel bad about some foolishness that somebody else is thinking. And so even that becomes an issue when you look at a person and go, okay, was I supposed to be emotional about that? Was I supposed to react to that way? No. And I think we have to, but some people aren't as grounded. And yeah, that's true, but then that's the work. And that's the reason why I'm out here trying to help as many people as I can to become grounded, because we can't perpetuate stereotypes and negatives, and we can't allow those negatives to continue to hold roots. We have to call them as they are, call them out as they are, and then stand our ground on why we feel that way. And I have no problem if people have issue with how I do something. Okay, you can either deal with it or not deal with it. I'm not going to lose any sleep. Just like I don't lose any sleep in people who do not like me for whatever reason. Some people feel I'm arrogant. Hey, darling, some people feel I'm arrogant. Some people feel that I'm aloof. I'm really not. Arrogant? Okay, yes, I am some days. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not going to tone down something that I enjoy doing because you can't keep up or you have an issue with it, but I'm not going to be negative. You mention something that I do is negative, then I'll take a second look at it and I'll reflect on that. But it all depends on why you're saying it's negative. But when I'm seeing a chick wearing a shirt enjoying being someone's side chick, you're clowning yourself. Thanks a lot, baby. Hey, Ms. Davis, thank you. You're clowning yourself. You're destroying someone's marriage. But I also had to say the person that's involved with this chick is clowning themselves too. So I had to make sure that I wrote that. It's not a one-sided thing. It's not just about the chick who's the side chick. It's about the dude that's putting the side chick on. And he needs to be ashamed of himself too. As I said earlier, he needs to kill himself too. Because if you don't want to be with your wife, leave her. You want to be with the side chick? Be with the side chick. I don't understand why you want to be with the side chick, but then you're worried about losing your wife. And then the side chick is out celebrating being the side chick, and the wife is the one home hurting because she's the one getting no attention, but probably doing more work than both of you. Just leave her alone and let her find somebody that cares about her, and she'll be straight. But it's just sad the number of people who celebrate that. It's a shame to lead someone in it's bad manner, but you know what it is? It's just pure selfishness. It's like, I want what I want, and I don't care who I have to hurt to get what I want. But we can't celebrate it. People are always going to be selfish. People are always going to be negative. Thank you for the hearts. I didn't want you to think I was ignoring any of them. People are going to be who they are. We just have to not celebrate them when they're negative. We have to make sure that we're not patting them on the back when they're walking around here as if it's cool to be somebody's side piece. When they're walking around here and it's cool because they in somebody's pockets. Like, it's okay because they create filth and say, look, but I'm getting paid by that filth. Thank you so much for the hearts. No. Sometimes you got to call a spade, and if they get offended, it is what it is. And the reality check is simply you being honest. If they don't get it. And by the way, Ms. Davis, I think the answer to your question that you asked me today is yes. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe so. So you already know. But I honestly think we have to support each other when someone is standing their ground and standing firm on something against something that's negative. I mean, as an author, I know what I like to write. I know what I attempt to write. I know what I'm not going to write. I can't knock somebody else for what they choose to write, but I can choose not to support it. And that's what I do. Hello from Russia. Hello from New York. And so what I choose to do is, if you come and ask me, did I like that? I'm going to be honest with you. No. If you want to know why, I'm going to tell you why. If you don't agree or say, well, how could you think that way? I am telling you how I thought. You asked me a question. And I think that's another thing too. You have to be honest when folks ask you why, because a person may need to learn, and they're not going to learn if you don't at least explain where you're coming from with your points. And when dealing with relationships, and the number of people that I help with relationships, I have to be honest. And sometimes when helping somebody in a relationship, it has nothing to do with the person that they have issue with. My focus may be on the person, or most of the time is on the person that's speaking, but then I got to be brutally honest with them, which I had to tell somebody the other day. It's you. Yes, it's you. You're the problem. And you got to be prepared to say some things that somebody may not like. But you cannot lean on, or support the negative. Sometimes the truth, and I say it often, the truth is like medicine. It just has to be given. You can't sit and play with it, think about it, wrap it up in applesauce and all other foolishness. Open up your mouth and take it. Because if it's going to help you, this is what has to be done. And we have to practice this because it's not something that happens often. True. They can think that. And then the sad part is when the truth finally comes to the forefront, you devastate somebody because they bought into the negative, or they bought into the lie, and you look to harm somebody. And the sad part is most people don't go into relationships or go into situations where they're worried about their partner's feelings. And your partner's feelings are paramount. But the sad part is people will embrace the negative to such a degree that they don't care if they destroy everything. They should take a criticism as a lesson. They should, but some people don't. And also, it's how the criticism is given. See, criticism is like when you're going over a kid's paper. I have to be very careful in how the effort that the kid put into it, because I may be trying to explain in a very nice way why the kid didn't do well, but if it's not perceived the right way, I could be doing more damage. So you have to be careful in how you offer the criticism, but in the end, you still have to give it if that's what's necessary. Because you can't allow the person to walk away thinking that this piece is negative is okay. No, you can't do that. Especially in relationships. Like when someone comes to me for assistance, one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to be honest with them. I'm going to say, based on what I heard. Now I'm going to ask some qualifying questions, some clarifying questions. I'm going to try to get as much information that I can. But so surely as an adult, a person should have the maturity. Well, you would hope. But again, not all of us are mature, and it all depends on what we're criticizing. Not all parents can take criticism of their children. Not all professionals can take criticism about their craft. Not all men or women can take criticisms about different points of their relationship. So it's not so much maturity. It has to do with how deep the emotions are to whatever the criticism is going to be about. Because I'm a very mature person, but I might be very connected to something that a person may decide to tell me about that could hurt. But again, at the end of the day, if it is the truth, you still have to deal with it. You still have to get it out, because I would hope that the people around me that love me are not going to allow me to go out here and lean on a negative, and they knew it was negative and said nothing at the time, or how to figure out how to get to me to tell me. That's the thing that we have to do, is we have to figure out that if we care about people, then we need to suck it up and find a way to sit down and explain to folks things that we see that are negative. You know, some people call them intervention, some people call it whatever. No, whatever you want to call it, you cannot allow negativity to just flourish. Now, it's going to do what it does. Listen, we got to have as much we're going to have negativity in the world as we have positivity. I got that. But you have to make a conscious effort not to buy into it. I see it in television. I hear it on the radio. I hear it in the way other authors write. I just can't buy into it. So I don't. You relate and try to upset somebody because of their criticism. You said N-word? Oh my God. I did? Oh, okay. I don't remember saying the N-word, but all right. But I'm saying, that's if a person tries to retaliate. Then that's the immaturity, yes. If a person is going to try to retaliate because of criticism, yes, then that's a sign of immaturity. I do agree. That's why we have to make sure that we then don't lean on the negative. We have to make sure that. We have to make sure that we offer a counter to things. We have to make sure that we offer counters to the things that are negative around us. Now, I'm not saying to jump on your soapbox for everything that's going on around you that's negative. No. But I'm talking about the things that you're connected to. The things that affect you. Yes, retaliations can start wars, but it all depends. See, because you don't actually have to respond to the retaliation. It's a choice. There's always options. War is a finality. And depends on how you look at war. I don't believe that wars are necessary unless there's no other options. So you don't always have to respond to the retaliation. You're going to say some things to people. If they choose to respond, that's their choice. You can deal with it, but it can be a circle. But that's where someone has to step in and not allow themselves to get sucked into what is now the negative, because a person more of a negative because the person has decided to retaliate. And that's where we have to make sure before we start to address certain negatives, we have to make sure that we have a clear understanding of what we're saying and what we're trying to say and what we're trying to get from even bringing the subject up. Some people will broach subjects with no reasoning and no answers to the very subject that they're complaining about. So then when the person who's in the midst of the whatever it is, well, what do you want me to do? Then you're sitting there looking foolish. So then the question becomes, why did you bring it up? Why did you say anything? Don't bring something to the table that you're not ready to actually deal with. Don't put a position on the table. People need to be informed properly before spouting their knowledge. Yes, no doubt. And that's exactly what I'm saying. You need to have a clear understanding of your own position before you go at somebody else's position to be able to explain to them why that's negative to you. They may not see it as a negative. And you also have to be careful to approach them based on whatever the negative is. Give an example. Let's go back to that photo that I said I saw on Facebook. Now, if I approach the woman who's wearing the shirt who says, I like married men and I enjoy being a side chick, wherever it was, If I approach her in a disrespectful manner about what she's doing is negative, I really left her no choice but to defend herself, because I'm coming at her in a way that's not going to really be receptive. Whereas if I engage her in a conversation to at least ask some qualifying questions, some clarifying questions about her choice of shirt, that might be a shirt for a product that I might go, well, why would they promote the product that way? But whatever it is, these are the things that you have to do, is that you need to approach. Hey, what's up, baby? You need to approach. It may inform her rather than it could, but again, it's always the approach. See, to broach the negative with someone, you have to be very mindful of how you are coming at them to be able to bring up what's wrong with you to what they're doing. Because you need to first understand what it is that you're looking at. And that can't be from a distance. See, if I just went on the shirt, she may be filming a commercial. She might be an actress. And this picture that was taken is just of a movie that she's in. And here I'm wilding out. So when you're going to address something negative, you got to first get all the information. That's where knowing your platform, knowing the information that now is going on, and then you sit down and say, can I ask you a question? See, by asking a question, it gives you an opportunity to hear where a person is coming from, and it should point you in what direction that you need to go in to be able to offer your point of view about what they're doing or who they are, what's going on. Sadly, folks will go on the attack because they're offended by the negative, and that creates more of a negative situation per se. And so that's why I said, when I started the scope and I wrote in the status, is we have to stop acting like that's acceptable. We have to start acting like the things that we see are acceptable. That doesn't mean we have to attack every person that we deem unacceptable to where we are, but when it's presented to you, like when somebody will turn to me after doing something stupid and go, you know what I'm saying, man? I gotta go, but I love your preaching. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it. Take care. Thank you so much. Miss Davis. Okay. Thank you, Miss Davis. Is that Mr. Davis? Miss Davis? I'm sorry. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And you have to say to them, no. It was funny because I had a guy in the store who was in the store, and he's basically barking at the deli worker, and he's complaining about the prices, and he's barking on the guy, and then is being real rude and disrespectful, then turns to me and go, you know what I'm saying, fam? No, I really don't. And you acted a fool for no reason. And he looked at me in shock, and he said, what you talking about? I'm like, the man just works here. He don't own the store. He don't make the prices. So why are you yelling at him? And then you're yelling at him, and yet you're still going to pay for your food and walk out. So what's the point of why are you yelling and screaming? Just to vent? That doesn't make any sense to me. And he had the nerve to say, yo, you just don't understand, my dude. I really don't. Ignorance is something I've never been able to embrace. You're right. I don't get it. Because you're doing all this complaining, but yet you're going to pay, you're going to take the food, and you're going to walk out. As a business owner, if I have a problem, then we got to talk. If I have a problem with the price, then I'm not going to continue to spend my money. If I had an issue, why would I talk to an underling when I should be speaking to the boss? There's steps, and that's what I mean by understanding. And because I was there for the whole situation, I didn't need him to qualify anything to me. I had already seen what I needed to see, and when I asked my questions, he wasn't able to answer, but I was not going to support his negative rants and his foolishness. And there was also the hint of, because we are the same color, that I should automatically jump in on what he's saying because we're the same color. First of all, bruh, don't let that fool you. Just because we might have the same melatonin, the melatonin total in our skin doesn't mean that we cool. Because just because your skin is the same color as mine doesn't mean anything, because you might be a fool. And I'm not aligning myself up with foolish people. Don't matter what color you are. And we have to really stand on that, because some people are not going to understand that. Some people are not going to agree. And then as David said earlier, retaliation could be the outcome. And I'm prepared for retaliation when I say something. I'm not worried about it. If it's going to be that, it's going to be that. I'm not worried about that. That's another thing too, is you can't be fearful of standing on the truth when facing certain negative situations. Nice Cuban chain? No, it's not a Cuban chain, just a cross. I don't know why you would consider it a Cuban chain. Praise the Lord. Okay. I hope you mean that. I wouldn't play with him if I was you, but I hope you mean it. Yes, praise the Lord every day. But the idea is too many of us will accept, and I see it on scopes too. I see people will say some things and the folk, they just nod their head. Really? You want to go for that? Okay, whatever. Actually, I had to, my wife had to talk me off the ledge because I would just be responding to all type of foolishness. I forgot that there was a block button. So for a while, I would just respond to all type of negativity. But now I don't. Listen, I just get in blocky. Listen, you jumped off the cliff. You jumped off the cliff. I hope you enjoyed that one comment. And my block totals is getting up there too. It's crazy. But no, I'm serious. When you're at work, when you're in a relationship, whatever it is, just don't sign up and accept foolishness. Something that you know is not right. And because you don't want to create a problem or you don't want any drama, listen, don't hold on to a negative of anybody. Don't hold on to a mindset that you know is wrong from anyone because you don't want to deal with drama. Then you are quietly and passively accepting what's going on. That means you are a part of what's going on. Don't do that. Don't be that way. In business, in your relationship, whatever, don't do that. Because it'll only come back to haunt you. And most of the time, those same folks will be the same folks who drag you under when they go. If you're in a relationship and you act like you don't see the negatives, eventually you'll be the one at the doctor's office trying to explain why your cootie burning or your joint burning or you wanted to having a baby with somebody you don't want to have a baby with, male or female. If you at work and co-sign the negative foolishness and you don't say anything, when things start to go negative, you're sucked in. And here you are getting walked out the door because you co-signed to something that was ridiculous. These are the things, and it's all circular. As David said earlier, it is all circular, but you have to learn to put your foot down and say, no, I'm not with that. Well, my lovely wife is here. Time for me to go. Appreciate you taking the time out. If you're watching this on replay and you watched it to the end, I appreciate it. I appreciate the hearts. I appreciate the comments, even the negative ones, because you guys with the negative comments, whether you know it or not, you're actually helping, because by learning how to ignore you or learning how to work this block button even quicker than I do, you are helping me become a stronger scoper. So I appreciate you guys who come up with the foolishness. Some of the comments I almost have to keep from laughing because I'm like, they all kind of funny. But anyway, and everybody else, I appreciate you again. Appreciate the hearts. I will go back and look at all of the comments and make sure that I hit everyone up directly. That is something that I try to do. My name is KLBELVIN. Make sure that you stop by my website, www.bravenpublishing.com. If you need to reach out to me, main office at bravenpublishing.com. I am the author of 3 books, A Man in Transition, From Gigolo to Jesus, and Lukewarm Saint. Poetry, nonfiction, and inspirational fiction. I am the owner of Braven Publishing, a literary service provider who provides the services for authors who want to start their writing careers. My wife and I have worked on 30 books to date. 3 of my own, 27 from other